Shalom. This is Shalamar from the Great Millstone Atlanta Camp. Before I get started with this lesson, I want to say call Halayim Allah Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah Bahashim Rahadash. Double honors to my elders and apostles of Great Millstone. They teach and rule well. Peace, love, and safety to the hopeful elect. And I want to start out by reading 1 Corinthians 14. And this is going to be verse 32. It says, and the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. And that's the title of this lesson. The spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. So the prophets that were teaching throughout the scriptures, all the prophets in the scriptures are back here today prophesying again. Okay, so a lot of the men that you see on the highways and byways pushing out a lot of lessons, warning the people, saying things, basically the prophesy means to say things before they happen. All right, so the men that's telling you what's about to happen today, mainly men of Great Millstone, because they're pushing the truth, the true name and the true prophecies and the true breakdowns of the scriptures. Were the prophets before. All right. So I want to start with just a few accounts in the scriptures. Let's go to Revelations first. Because John the Revelator was told that he has to prophesy again. But it was talking about in these last times because it said before many nations. So how can you, back then, there was nothing where there was no television. There was nothing where you could prophesy to that many people unless you was before a large crowd. So this is talking about someone that is pushing his work, that's pushing his lessons over the internet before many nations. All right, so let's get it. Revelation chapter 10 and 11 says, and he said unto me, thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings. All right, so John the Baptist is back here again, doing the same thing, putting in the work. All right, because he has the spirit of a prophet. And he's going to be part of the one of the elect. We just don't know who he is. He don't know who he is. All right. One man that didn't understand who he was Yahweh Shah, because he was written about in the Old Testament. It was prophesied that Yahweh Shah was gonna do the things that he did. All right. But yeah, let's go to Isaiah. Isaiah 46 and verse 9. It says, remember the former things of old, for I am the Most High, there is none else. I am the Most High, there is none like me. Declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. So the Lord is saying that everything was already written. The prophets were created to be prophets. Okay. They were created to be the 144,000, the elect, even from the beginning. Of course, this scripture is talking about everything, because the Lord, everything that's going on, all of history was already declared. It was already written. And by the things happening, actually coming true in these last days, showing us these are the last days, for some reason, still not turning people from their ways and into this truth and to look more into this book and turn into the prophets. But as prophecy increase, you're gonna have more and more listeners. And to the large multitude that's gonna come in at the end, the 11 o'clock Israelites, until that happens, which is gonna be, 1/3 of our people. But yeah, Lord is going to turn it up where these people start listening to the prophets, which are the same men in the scriptures. Okay, so I want to get a couple of more accounts in 2nd Esdras. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 16 and 17, because when Uriel was showing Ezra all the things that was going to happen, Ezra wasn't he was seeing a vision, but he was seeing himself in these times. He was seeing who he is today, like whoever he is today, out prophesying. That's who he was seeing. He actually showed him a vision of the future with himself in it. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? Letting you know that he was going to be in these times seeing these things. He didn't know what he was seeing. He just saw, let's continue. Verse 18, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? So yeah, this was Ezra seeing all of these things that's gonna shortly come to pass, even back then. And he saw himself in these days. Of course, he probably looked different, but yeah, he was same spirit. All right. I'm gonna get one more and I'm gonna end it. 2nd Ezra chapter 2 and verse 2. So like it, 2nd Ezra 2 and 41. The number of thy children whom thou longest for is fulfilled. Beseech the power of the Lord Yahweh, that thy people, which have been called from the beginning, may be hallowed. All right. So the holy people were called from the beginning. And it's not talking about the Israelites. It's talking about the elect. They were called to be the elect from the beginning. All right. So even the prophets of old, just like you see in the ancient pictures, these are actually the Russian, the paintings that was in the Russian vault. Okay, those men that was painted back then, those same men are here today in the same spirit, different body. All right, and they're gonna receive the same reward that was promised to them. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. I pray this lesson was edifying. Once again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rahakwadash. Double honors to my elders and apostles, a great millstone that taught us his truth. Shalom to the elect.